With TSD Talks.
Welcome, Jelkas, Gooners, and Edges alike to another episode of the Pillar of Garbage MoGcast. I'm your host, Pogdale Dingle, and putting his whole pussy into it, as always, is my co-host, Kai Senat. Kai, do you know that I'm mogging you right now?
I don't know if it's better or worse the fact that I have a face cam and I'm visibly not a black person that makes the Kai Senat thing better or worse.
I will be honest, I don't even know who Kai Senat is. I just know that he gets phantom taxed. I think he's the subject of the phantom tax that is levied against him, I think. I'm
not well versed in that particular area of brain rot discussion, but I am glad that this is how we're doing our big comeback. This is how we're reintroducing ourselves back to our audience.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton about it either. I'll be honest. I just know a lot of words. I've just heard a lot of words and a lot of names, and I think like a lot of the kind of brain rot youth, I just like how they sound. I like how they feel when they come out of your mouth. I think that's really what a lot of it is.
Yeah, it's the skibbity sigma.
I didn't even say skibbity.
Those who know, those who snow. Have you seen Those Who Snow?
I don't think so. Is that a new one?
It
was snowing here earlier.
Yeah, it's a new one where it's just like it's somehow the phrase "those who know" got brain rotted, and then for winter, some people started saying "those who snow."
Oh, very clever.
Yeah, only the most intellectual ideas get accepted into the brain rot thing. Have you seen the knee surgery stuff? That feeling when knee surgery is tomorrow.
I have. I mean, it's another one where I've seen some content containing the knee surgery idea. I don't really know what it means. I'm assuming it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. It just comes from the knee
emoji, maybe.
There's like a screenshot of like a meme page that's like top 25 best knee surgery memes, and there's and the preview image is an image is like a blue image of the Grinch from the Grinch movie, and the caption is "that feeling when knee surgery is tomorrow."
See, I assumed it was from, the leg emoji.
No.
Back in the kind of, I think 2018 era, there was a 2018 era surreal meme phase that I think in a lot of ways is the predecessor of the current brain rot meta. Mm-hmm. And that was a big one there. You would have the leg emoji, and you would have the stone head emoji, and you would have the bee emoji. And those were really the heavy hitters back then.
Yeah, I remember the B a lot. It just got replaced. It replaced other consonants and sometimes vowels in other words, just randomly. But we're back. This is our big return. It's been like what?
Yeah.
Like a month? Like a month and a half?
It's been a month in which nothing has happened.
Yeah, nothing historically significant or terrifying has happened, but there was one big, very important event that we have to talk about, Pillar.
There was a big. I didn't know there was a big event.
There was a big event. There's one that's on everyone's minds. The one that's like hanging over like a shadow over everything we do, and that is the fact that in the new Minecraft movie trailer, it opens with Jack Black saying, "As a child, I yearned for the mines."
Yo, all right, I'm back on board the Minecraft movie hype train.
Yeah. It's fun. I actually did watch the rest of the trailer. It's funny because it's not a terrible trailer. Like, if they had led with this instead of whatever the hell that teaser trailer was in like September, I think people would have been on their side a bit more.
Yeah, I think the internet was. I think the internet was always going to be against it the moment the decision was made for it to be real people in Minecraft land.
I mean, yeah, obviously that was like that's a big issue with it. But this new trailer shows off a lot more like charming stuff that's interesting in like their designs that isn't just like the horrible sheep and horrible llama that they showed.
Yeah. I mean, here's what you do. Here's what you do if you're the exec in charge of the Minecraft project. You do like the animated thing, have Steve be blocky, and have him be voiced, are you ready for this, by Chris Pratt.
Oh,
Instant $1 billion gross inbound. There you go. You are welcome, fucking whichever studio has the IP.
And you got to have Jack Black voice Herobrine. And just,
oh my God. Why are we not developing this? This sounds awesome.
This should be us. You could have like a moment where he's just called Brian, and then he turns evil, and then Steve says, "No, you were supposed to be a hero, Brian." And then Brian says, "You know what? I like the sound of that."
Literal chills. Higher fans.
Absolute
we know what
cinema.
We're doing.
Just I'm doing. You can't see me, but I'm doing the arm thing, the Martin Scorsese thing. Absolute cinema.
Yeah. I was on a Minecraft server recently. One of my friends set up like a dedicated server, so it's always running.
Yeah.
And it's one of these ones with all the mod packs. And I was never a big one for Minecraft mods. So I load into this server, and it's like got shaders. You can see the sun rising. Like when the sun rises, you can see the light kind of spill across the world, and it all looks wonderful. And there's about 1 billion blocks, and you can build robots and planes or whatever. But after 5 minutes of looking through the big inventory, I'm just there like building a farm, gathering stone to build a castle. You know, I don't think I have the mind, the soul really for this kind of new generation of Minecraft. And maybe that's why I'm not so dialed into the movie as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the Minecraft movie is kind of a thing of, I mean, Minecraft's still popular, but it kind of had its cultural moment already, and I feel like this has missed that cultural moment by like 10 to 15 years. And
I think it has. I think there's still enough kind of latent Minecraft brand value hype in the world that you could do a kind of more conventional Minecraft movie and it would be fine. But this doesn't seem to be that.
It really what it seems like is like some kind of media made to fill people's time rather than say something interesting. Now that leads me into your new video, Pillar of Garbage of the Pillar of Garbage YouTube channel.
Garbage,
this is on the Pillar of Garbage podcast. We can talk about a video made by Pillar of Garbage.
What? I thought this was the Pillar of Garbage MoGcast.
Oh, sorry, the Pillar of Garbage MoGcast, but it does still have Pillar of Garbage in it. Pillar of Garbage,
yes.
Pillar of Garbage.
Like the song.
Yeah, like the song. I forgot
so
about
I made
the
this
song.
video.
Yeah, the video.
Also, like, we're coming back from a break on the podcast. I'll just briefly address, it was a month between uploads, which is the longest it's been for a while, maybe ever for me. And the previous upload was also not like a proper one. It was something I kind of put together to fill time. So that was also like a week or so before the previous proper one. And I want to, in case anyone was wondering if I'd done a fucking, I don't know, Tom Scott game theory guy quit YouTube. It's part of that is I was away for 2 weeks. Part of that was I had to do a Patreon exclusive, which took a while because I was doing the longest one of those I've ever done. And also, TSD, did you catch Jesse Gender's video, YouTube is destroying its creators?
I didn't, but I kind of had a feeling it was mostly be kind of like a thing of, I don't really want to watch this. I'm sure it's a good video. I'm sure it's like a good video, but I just don't really want to watch this because I'm kind of going through something with YouTube right now. So it's like I don't really want to be reminded.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, the video ends with Jesse basically saying something that I almost did in like a Patreon post and like made a very quiet, small non-announcement about, but the video puts it so well that I don't even think there's any point me saying it, which is basically just, you get to the point where you want to be putting more effort into fewer videos. And I'm just at that point. So partially I was doing other stuff. That's why there's a big update, big gap. Partially I'm, for the next few months at least, depending on how it goes monetarily, I am going to try and do fewer, better projects. And this Slop video was kind of the first of those. It was kind of transitional because I was writing it before. I felt about doing that kind of pivot. But yeah, I spent a bit more time doing that than I maybe would have done, which maybe didn't always show.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah.
In most of the important ways, though, I think it I'm trying to think of the word that's the opposite of suffered, because I keep wanting to say suffered, but it's the opposite of what I want to say. I think flourished. Yeah, it did. Your video did better for it. So I think it turned out well because of the effort you put into it. And also, I thought it was just a really good video because I've been feeling a lot like a kind of weird, just general melancholy about like the media landscape in general the last couple of months. Yeah. And this video really like crystallized those feelings into words of like, that's what it is. That's the issue. Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a good video, and I think broadly the point it makes is probably mostly accurate. That being said, like I do feel like it is kind of a half measure of a video, partially because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to spend more time on this, and I did. But also, I feel like it could have been longer and more detailed with more caveats and more specific. But also, I've got a bunch of people in the comments saying it's too long, so, you know, who knows? It's just, I don't know, I think it's partially because it's done really well out the gate. But you know the way you sour on a video after a while? Like, you look at a video that you felt super high on like 6 months or a year ago, and you look at it now and you think, oh, well, you know, it's all right. I probably could have done it a bit better. That's kind of already coming around for this. Mm-hmm. I think that happens when you have something that you've been thinking about a lot, and when you think about something a lot, your feelings are constantly shifting and in new ways. And now, like, as further away you get from something, a video is almost like a screenshot of where your current headspace was at that time. And so once your headspace changes, then you're like, it's not so much that it's a bad video, it's just that it's not necessarily doesn't encapsulate what you feel anymore. Yeah, that's part of it. I think it partly is, we're recording this like 5 days after it's gone out. It's got 262,000 views, which is really good. Yeah. And I'm super happy about. But also, as we'll probably get to later, not all of the responses have been positive. And I typically try and read most comments, and I've not been able to do that just because even if it's like a similar, maybe slightly higher ratio of not so nice ones, there's just such a volume of them that like opening the community section of the YouTube studio is to get pelted by people being a little bit maybe more nasty than I feel is justified. I think it's also just because of the nature of there being like using the term slop is a charged word. Yeah. So that's going to get people more defensive right out of the gate. Yeah. Also, though, actually, if we're doing this as like a autopsy examination, whatever, of the video, I will just clarify. If anyone listening to this is in the Discord server and you want to scroll up in the POG video discussion channel, I had a really good chat with one viewer, Patreon supporter, about the kind of the nuances that I didn't include in the video about CS2 as a slop game, and I want to expand on that just to sort of clarify that I know that some of the things I discuss as slop in the video, I'm kind of attributing motives to that I can't really prove, and I want to say that it's basically I think there is a core to the idea that is good, and if you got a wide enough survey of the digital content and you had full access to all the memos and discussions and stuff behind it, I think the points would be borne out. It's just tricky picking out specific things that would, I don't know. It's tricky speculating from the outside. And also, there was a slight problem, I think, in the argumentation of the video that maybe something like Counter-Strike only really fulfills the captured value side of the slop thing. What I was trying to do was gather some examples that exist around an intersection, and that intersection is what I kind of designate as slop. And just by the nature of how you make a video and how you make an engaging video, maybe they weren't all on the kind of X marks the spot of that intersection, but I mean, most people liked the video. I think most people saw what I was trying to do. I just want to say, if anyone's watched that video and it's like, well, actually, yeah, okay, maybe you are right. Maybe it isn't the best, most accurate 100% gospel thing in the world. But yeah, like you say, TSD, a lot of people did respond to it with
kind of, this just checks out on a vibes level. And that can be a trap, but also it can sometimes speak to truth.
Yeah, and I think that I think also the fact that some people, I noticed this a lot in the comments because I can understand why they got this confused, but it seems like a not insignificant amount of people didn't like get, and this isn't their fault, it's just like a thing of sometimes it can get lost in translation a little bit, but they didn't get that what you were saying is you weren't necessarily saying that something that is quote unquote slop by your definition is bad, because like
no,
it by definition usually isn't. Like it's usually like just it's the thing is that it's not like great.
Yeah, and some of that's on me for trying to, I guess, not redefine a term, but kind of venture a definition for a term that's slightly counterintuitive.
Yeah, because slop has like a negative connotation, and I think that like the overall effect is negative with like this slop as you define it, but it also kind of does lose the nuance of like, well, just because this is, called bad doesn't mean, like has a bad connotation, the overall effect is bad doesn't mean that the individual, offenders are bad.
Yeah. And also there's, I was wondering whether to do this for the December Patreon bonus video, but I think I'll just kind of give the idea here. I wondered about elaborating on the kind of end section a little, making clear that, because interestingly, in the month or so since I wrote the section on Counter-Strike, the game's been getting some actually really good updates. And
we have to prove this one video essayist wrong.
Yeah. No, it may well get to a point where you look at CS2 in 2025 or 2026 and like it isn't slot by my criteria, but like it always would have been in 2023 and 2024, Yeah. So like there's also a parallel I think to draw between, when the Acolyte was cancelled, one of the reason people didn't totally get on board with that was because there was promise, it just didn't get executed wonderfully. And if you look to the first seasons of a lot of shows, that's how they kind of start. And we've talked about this before on the podcast, but there is that temporal dimension of slop too, where especially in this, in the landscape we have at the moment where shows continue for years, franchises are never quite ending, and the kind of live serviceization of the content landscape, there is this temporal dimension of slop too, where something can start out slop and then
in retrospect not be it anymore.
Yeah, it can kind of outgrow sloppiness.
Yeah, like there was actually something that made me think about this interestingly was have you ever seen that NBC Super Bowl commercial that's the Brotherhood of Man, where they have all the casts of the various NBC shows singing a version of Brotherhood of Man from How to Succeed in Business? Like they'll have,
I have not.
So they have so it's like an ad where it starts out with like a framing device from 30 Rock, because 30 Rock is, about working at NBC. And so then they have they have them start singing the song, and then it cuts to like the cast of The Office singing the song, and then it's the cast of Parks and Rec, and then it's the cast of Community, then it's the cast of like, why can't I think of any other ones? There's like their newscast people, and then like there's a quick jump scare from Trump because The Apprentice was running on NBC. But that thing kind of put into perspective for me is like all these shows were on at the same time, like you never really think about that. Like I don't think about that much, because like for me, I go back and I view them as individual products, but like they were all part of this same cultural identity. And I think about how much different it would have been to like turn on NBC and then you see an episode of Community come on right after an episode of 30 Rock, after an episode of The Office.
It seems strange today, doesn't it?
And like those things would all blur together in a way if you were experiencing it in real time.
Yeah.
So it makes me think about how stuff today is going to be, it's like, in retrospect, will probably be looked on more fondly when it can be viewed on its own terms rather than in the larger media landscape.
Yeah. When you can kind of extract the highlights of it.
Yeah. And I've been thinking a lot about like the Marvel shows and stuff because, you know, I don't think this is going to be super controversial. I think that by your definition of slop, like the definition of like generally like decent but not necessarily mind-blowing, all contributing to this larger feeling of like maybe this is just content, that feeling can pretty accurately be applied to most of what Marvel's putting out, like at least, you know, MCU wise, just because like
I think it can be applied, and then I think in a lot of cases in the past few years, it's always there to a degree.
Yeah.
But
It's becoming
it kind of always has been there. If you think of the Daredevil example,
Yeah.
It's more so a thing. But I do, and I don't think this is what you're going to say, but I do want to push back on the idea that we can just say Slop and refer as a whole to like the Disney Plus output.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
It's I was always kind of struggling to figure this out because I never like hated any of the shows or anything when I watched them, but I did get tired of them. And that's the thing. It's like I never agreed with like the hyperbolic responses of like, oh, Marvel is complete trash now. But I also never really like, whenever I saw people like emphatically defending the way it was going and like emphatically defending every single show coming out.
The emphatic defenders of like your Falcon and the Winter Soldiers and maybe your Ms. Marvels as well. I think, I see what you mean there. I would say I feel like something like WandaVision, Loki, Agatha, I wouldn't call those Slop in my criteria.
Right.
And I wouldn't personally call some of the other ones, like Hawkeye, maybe for me creates just enough value to get in the subjective kind of side of where it outgrows the sloppiness, but undeniably a good number of them are. Maybe kind of middle of the pack ones, and then definitely your Secret Invasions
And I think I'm relating that back to the thing about you were saying about like the retrospective is because like if you look back in retrospect, all of those individual shows, a lot of them are either just good or have like really great moments. But then when you look at them as this larger cultural like monolith, then it becomes tiring. So like,
No, I'm with you there.
So I think that's an interest that like, I think in retrospect, because there's a lot of like, if you look at the Marvel movies, some of them stick around and some of them don't, even though largely they kind of have similar feeling and quality in a lot of ways. There are some that like hit better and stick around more and are looked on more fondly back. And I think that's going to, it's kind of the everything, it's all music from the past is good effect of like the best stuff survives the longest and the stuff that is like mediocre or bad just falls to the wayside because people forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of related again to something that's come up in the Slop videos comments a few times. A lot of people saying like, essentially, this is nothing new. There's always been an element of this to the kind of, the film TV industry, whatever you want to call it. And like, I do agree in that Slop content, as I describe it in the video, is just the modern form of a tendency that's always existed to greater or lesser degrees. But I would push back by clarifying that I am talking, the point of the video is to try and dial in on the specific form that's taking today. Like that's why I talk about the digital economism as an aspect of it, like the really algorithmic kind of KPI, statistical judgment of the way we watch things today on the services we use. Like that isn't really something that existed. I mean, you can talk about Nielsen data, but I don't think it's really the same thing. I think there's nuances there that are different, and the way it was sort of, the way that data was understood, I think is a bit different as well. And no one was like, there wasn't like a one-to-one. This pilot got so many views, we're gonna. I mean, it always played a part, but it wasn't quite as sort of. And I think raw and kind of red in tooth and claw as the kind of the raw face of the Netflix number machine makes it today.
I think it just becomes more obvious because there's just so much stuff being made now, which like I think is good that there's more stuff than ever being made, but also means that more like the way I look at it is that like 50 years ago there were 3 TV channels, and now there's not only like a million TV channels, there's a million streaming services, and then there's a billion like YouTube channels that are talking about their own things, and there's so many, and that's just in YouTube and everything, and then there's like TikTok and stuff and whatever,
you
and
can't
then
think too much about it because you just start to send yourself loopy.
Like that's all just video content. I'm not even talking about like written stuff, audio stuff, the like music, like and of course there's a lot of overlap on all of those, but you know, it takes more effort to stand out, and when you don't stand out, you end up contributing to this just like wave of whatever is like, not as like a whatever, it's like I don't know what I'm saying, but whatever is in like that's the feeling you have.
Yeah, it's like it's mid. I do wonder about the future canonizing of this era. Like in terms, I think it'll be easier in the traditional media, even those ones which have been digitized through streaming or whatever. But thinking about online content creation, are we going to see like a retrospective canon of the notable figures in X or Y field or industry crop up 20, 30 years from now, looking back at the period we're in now? How is that even going to be made? There are just so many voices, you know?
Yeah. I feel like people like, I feel like Lindsay Ellis is probably going to be, is the only one I can think of who will probably like stick around as an important like pioneer for a long time, just because she popularized
for the sort of stuff
like,
we're doing,
like video essay stuff. But like there's so many good video essayists that it's hard to determine who quote unquote deserves it, who deserves to be remembered.
This isn't even a question of Slop, because undoubtedly uncountable amounts of really good creators will fall through the cracks just by dint of the large numbers at play here. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just something that I think about that's kind of loosely related to that.
Yeah. There's actually I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about why I haven't been super active.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing.
And I will say that part of it is just because I've been busy. Like I've got a new job. I got a job right after I finished the X-Men video. And that has like really messed with my schedule a little bit. It's part of why we weren't able to record for so long, because after your 2 week long break, my boss decided to start scheduling me during the times we would usually record. So we're still figuring that out. But as for my own YouTube videos, I'm gonna get a little bit personal here. I was going through it when I was making the X-Men video a little bit, and it wasn't because of the video. It was just that like a lot of stuff was happening in my personal life. Like a long-term relationship had just ended while I was making it. I was getting out of college, and I wasn't really like dealing with that. I was kind of just like focusing on finishing the X-Men, which saying it now, it is not a healthy way to deal with that. I should not. In retrospect, that was a really bad move. But I did just kind of throw myself at my work at this X-Men video, and then I finished it. And then once I finished it, I wasn't like, all that stuff kind of came flooding back, and I wasn't sure what to do. And I wasn't really able to enjoy the success I did get from the X-Men video because I was just dealing with so much shit in my real life. And so I did put out another video after that, but I tried making more videos, and I just like couldn't because I just hadn't allowed myself to like sit, like to really seriously take a step back and deal with all that. And the good news is there's like a semi-happy ending to this story. I did decide eventually that I'm just going to take a break. Like, I don't know if I've officially announced that on my channel or anything, but I'm in the middle of a break right now. I'm not putting any kind of deadline on myself to push out like YouTube videos. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff because I want to seriously like take a step back and allow myself to breathe and like reassess and let my mind readjust to like my new living situation. Because if I just pretend as if like everything is exactly the same as it was 6 months ago when I was in college and, you know, I was in a better place emotionally to be making YouTube videos, then I don't allow myself to, you know, make good things or take care of myself, and those are the two things I want to do. And this was like relating to what we were originally saying, because because those feelings of like of like melancholy and like getting tired with something were starting to be things that I felt with because I wasn't dealing, that they get worse. Those feelings get worse when you're not allowing yourself to deal with like your own issues.
Yeah.
This is kind of just becoming my self-therapy session.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, you bang on, like, we've all done it. You're in the midst of something and some shit goes down and you put it in the box and you shove the box over to one side and keep going, but then it just grows and grows in the box, and then when you finish the thing that you've been putting it off because of, you've just got the box and the thing's grown. Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up. And especially for, if you've been sort of distracting yourself with a labor of love, then the thing in the box can get its little horrible roots into your passion, your release. And then burnout takes a lot of forms. Sometimes it is just you try to keep going, try to keep creating, and there's just nothing there.
Yeah, and I think that one thing I've been doing that allows myself to recharge is because I feel antsy when I'm not writing something. So but because I didn't want to like trigger that like feeling of panic that I was starting to get about like trying to make sure that my YouTube videos or whatever were good, I started just doing like personal fiction writing, just like writing little short stories for myself and writing to kind of like, get that itch out and get back into those things. And that has been great. I've been loving to do that. And I've been thinking about, and I realized that like, before I was doing video essay writing, I was doing story writing and screenwriting, and I love doing that. And so I think that what this is doing for me is that I've kind of the mindset that I still want to make YouTube videos, but that's not what I'm going to be doing right now. I might do it again, and I might pick it back up again in like a month or two, or even longer than that,
or even longer.
Or tomorrow I could just like wake up and feel great about doing it and be like, this is what I want to do. But I'm not going to give myself like a deadline for it. And I think that that's going to be the best way to deal with that. And in the meantime, I'll just focus on writing this because, this has given me some inspiration for other projects that I do want to do, that I want to put myself into. So, maybe keep an eye out for that, but maybe not. Maybe I'll decide not to do it. It's
I mean, exactly.
Just taking all those limits off of myself has been super freeing. And I realized that I've been kind of putting myself in a box the last year or so, especially. And that, it feels good to be out of that. This is not to say that I won't ever do YouTube again, because I do want to do it again. I want to come back, but I just need to take like a step back, and like I'm in the process of figuring out what that means for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all great and healthy, and you should do it. And I almost had a kind of similar thing on a smaller scale when I had my break, because so I was on holiday and I was reading a lot, which I normally love to do, but I just don't really have time for. Well, I haven't had time for a while because I was just so full focus on YouTube creation. For me, it was a job, so I suppose that's why. But again, I was hyper focusing in on it, and at points I could probably have had it at a maybe healthier balance, but I put all of that out of my brain, and I became name redacted instead of pillar garbage for a bit. Yeah, and I read so many books, and the craziest thing turns out, being intellectually nourished in a way that isn't just directed outwards in one stream makes you more creative. And so a lot of this, I was reading like,
Isn't that wild?
Reading some Sartre, reading a lot of Mark Fisher, and like, I'm already, as I'm getting back into the writing thing, noticing so many of those streams, and then older stuff that I'd kind of forgotten about too, coming back into it. So yeah, that's my thing, which ends up with me not having a break and going back into the production thing. But I totally think you've made the right choice. And especially because, it's not just a case of, I'm feeling creative today, I'll make a video. No, it's like, if I had a job, I'd probably still be trying to do this. Yeah. But it would be fucking months between videos. They take so much. Me doing this full time, it's just been basically almost a month and a half between uploads. So like, I'm just impressed you managed to even get that Gravity Falls video out at that point when you were dealing with all that stuff as well?
I am completely honest. I almost didn't get it out. It was like,
well, I wouldn't have blamed you,
because I got it out, and it took me like, you saw how long it took me. I was talking about it on this podcast for like 2 episodes, which is like a month. Normally, like in prime TSD Talks era, it would have taken me like a week and a half maybe to get that video out, but it took me like a month and a half because I just was refusing to deal with the issue. In fact, I had another Gravity Falls video in the works to come out right after that because I hadn't learned my lesson yet, and that one didn't end up getting made because of the same reasons. It's funny looking back on it now because I was so obviously making the wrong decision. But like once you're in the thick of it, you get tunnel vision. You know, you get
from the pen to the ring to the screen to the.
Oh, God,
you said the thick of it.
I'm in the thick of it. Everybody knows.
That's something that should have worked its way into the intro. But yeah, like when you're in the middle of it, you're kind of like a fly in amber. You know.
Yeah.
You don't realize that you're sort of thinking in 2 dimensions instead of 3.
And something that this allowed me to do is that I took this wasn't just like a YouTube thing. This was like a whole like life re-examination moment for me. I'm like going through it, you know, not anymore, but like I'm not going through it in like a bad way, but I'm doing the early 20s thing where
you're in a transitional period. Yeah.
I'm doing the early 20s meme where you discover who you are or something. But something else that I did was that I took like a step back and re-examined my, lack of a better word, media consumption habits. Because
Your media diet.
Yeah, my media diet. I realized just how much of what I was doing for content. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Even when I wasn't doing it consciously, like subconsciously, I was watching videos and thinking like, how can I turn this into a video essay? How can I do something with this? If I watch this, how can I algorithmically justify myself making something about it?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
this is a whole thing. The creators among the audience everyone is just feeling this right now.
And like the worst example of this, I didn't even realize how unhealthy this was until like I really took a step back, is that I was making like a list of movies to watch this year, not because I wanted to watch them, but because they would look good on my end of the year movie tier list. Isn't that fucking ridiculous? Like, you say it out loud.
It's not your fault though. It's the number machines in the YouTube studio. I'm convinced they lifted the whole back end from some like CIA MK Ultra torture program. You know, it messes with your brain.
It like last December I spent the last 2 weeks like cramming like it was for an exam, just watching all these movies this year, just so I could say that I watched them in 2023. I've watched The Holdovers. Yeah. The Holdovers was one of my favorite movies last year. I watched it literally, like I finished it like 10 minutes before midnight on New Year's Eve, just so I could say I finished it. Like, you
could have lied, TSD. They don't know.
I know, but it wouldn't.
No, I know what you mean. Though you want to be authentic.
It eats away at your mind. And so taking a huge step back and being like, holy shit, what is this thing doing to me? It's not like a thing of like, don't ever be a YouTuber or whatever. It's just that you get like, I love doing this. I love doing it. And I want to keep doing it in the future, you know, but I also was not careful. Like I was not careful in not letting myself get consumed by this thing. And it's because it's very easy. You can get, you are not immune to propaganda, kind of a thing.
Hey, it's true. I mean, I'm feeling this because someone I know in real life, and I don't want to get too specific, but someone I know has, you know, probably inspired by me being pretty successful in the grand scheme of things, started taking a shot at YouTubing themselves. And I've really tried my best, because if someone asks you to help them out, trying to launch like a side hustle in YouTube, like I think as a friend, you have 2 duties. You have one duty to try your absolute damn best to impress upon them. This probably won't work.
Right.
You may not be happy. This isn't just going to be a money generator. This is going to take so much time and so much effort. Really consider if you want to do this, it has to be from a passion first, and then maybe it'll work down the line. And then the second thing is, after you've said that and they don't listen, you have to try and help.
Yeah.
So I've been sort of watching some of my own habits in someone else crop up and really trying to get through to them. But I think it's just something you have to experience for yourself to a degree, and it shouldn't have to be. But
yeah.
If someone had said all this to me when I started out, I probably would have done the same thing.
Right, that's the thing though, right? Is that it's kind of like that meme where every celebrity hates being famous, but everyone who's not a celebrity wants to be famous, you know? Like we're not, I'm not saying, you know, we're celebrities.
And we don't hate being a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I definitely don't, especially, but it's just you don't, it's like a one-way mirror to a point.
Yeah.
You don't see what it's like even if someone tells you what it's like until you're in it.
Yeah. So this
Good
is like our wake up call. Never be a YouTuber. Never do.
Yes, delete your accounts.
But it also
less competition for me.
Something also that it did was that it made me realize I just don't really like watching YouTube as much as I used to, which is sad, you know?
Honestly, fair enough though.
But it's also like at the same time, I'm subscribed to like 200 something channels. I cannot watch all that stuff. Like
No, of course not.
Like I have to. What I used to do was I would like put all the stuff I wanted to watch later in my watch later playlist, and then I would go through it like a robot, mathematically making sure I got everything. I legitimately once like spent like 2 days calculating all the stuff that was in my watch later playlist to see how much watch time that would be. Like this kind of shit eats away at your brain. So now what I've decided to start doing. The crazy idea, I've decided to just start watching what I want to watch. Like
that's actually, I mean, you're saying words, but they don't link up together in my brain.
Yeah.
No, I got a big watch later.
I've started I'll go to my watch later place every once in a while, but I've started using the YouTube recommended a lot more because there's so much less pressure. And then also I'll be like, oh, I didn't watch a lot of YouTube today. My watch later playlist, that's fine. I can just leave it. If I never watch a YouTube, the thing I've decided is that if I never watch a video that's in my watch later playlist ever again, I'll be fine. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like it's that
unless it's a pillar of garbage video.
Unless it's a pillar of garbage
TSD Talks video.
Right. You have to watch all
We're
those.
We're different. We're not like the rest of them.
Exactly. And then I also just been watching a lot of TV shows that I would probably never make a video on. Like I've been watching a show I've always wanted to watch, but I never thought I'd make a video on, and probably still won't ever make a video on. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've been having a great time with that show. It's massive, and I've just been enjoying it for what it is, and as a consumer of entertainment rather than like an analyst.
This is something. We do have a lot of creators, and especially like smaller creators listening to this. And I think you're spitting some facts here. You're saying some stuff that we all need to hear. Me as well. I want to say something because I want to get your take on something.
Yeah.
I've kind of been doing a kind of reverse version of your movie lists, which is I've got a project and I'm behind on it, so I probably shouldn't feel bad about being behind on it. But I've started doing a thing on my phone notes app. I call it the theme matrix. So what it is after I finish like a book or a TV show or a game or anything, I'll kind of jot down some of its key themes as I see it. So
I think that's good. I think that's like a...
And then, the idea being that later on, if I decide to... So I open it up now. The first one I did for the films one was The Substance. So that says beauty standards / the self / physicality / food / transhumanism and so on. So the idea being that if one day I want to make a video about transhumanism in media, I can search through these notes...
American Psycho, Awesomeness, Sigma grind set.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, bear with, my doorbell has just rung. But yeah, I think that's maybe slightly more healthy because you're thinking about it after the fact. But I don't know.
I think that's a better idea because you're not thinking about like the numbers or whatever. That's like that's just like practicing media literacy, pretty much. Like that's like. Have you ever like you've taken like musical instrument lessons, right?
I've taken an amount of them,
but like I think that's like scales, like when you practice scales in musical, like when you're practicing an instrument, it's like practice. It's like a little drill to kind of just make sure that like okay, I'm keeping this skill kind of fresh and whatever, and making sure that like I am critically understanding what I'm watching. Yeah. I think that's fun. And like, especially, some people won't enjoy that, but if they don't, then they don't have to do it.
Spit more facts.
So I guess the moral in all of this is that like YouTube's great if you want to do it, and if you want to do it, you should do it, but you just got to be careful to make sure that it doesn't like it's like a very easy for you to get sucked into like a very toxic mindset if you don't, if you're not careful. And this isn't like a thing of like you're stupid for falling into it, because Pillar and I, we're not stupid, okay? We're not dumb. We're not stupid guys, but we did fall into this trap, and we'll probably continue to fall into this trap even though we know that it's there. It's just something you got to be careful about. You got to make sure that you still have a part of yourself, part of your brain, a part of your thought process, part of your media enjoyment, whatever, that is just for you, and it's not for your YouTube channel, kind of a thing.
Co-sign the above. This has been the mental health self-help check-in episode of the podcast.
Yeah. Well, now that we've spent all this time talking about how we shouldn't get sucked into the algorithmic nonsensicalities and like little petty dramas of
Yes.
YouTube, let's talk about some
like you're
comments.
Up to a comment corner segue. Yes, let's go.
You're right fucking shit, you are.
Well, technically that isn't true. They can
I see the British are analysing our American characters.
I'm sorry, but I'm offended by that content warning.
I don't think you should include
but I'm
him for the
offended
rest
by
of
it.
it. Like he is
Something wrong.
I know they're not racist because I've been watching them for years.
Asian, baby.
Channel name checks out.
It's Comment Corner.
All right, so I want to start us off with just one quick comment before I talk about. I've got another kind of collection of comments that I think we can maybe spend a little bit more time on. But this first one is just it's kind of the one extreme of the thing I was talking about earlier of some of the types of the comments that have been coming through on the Slop video. This is from Dreamsy Mobbins, and they say, "This video is hella low quality, and I don't have anything else to say. So yeah, lol, see ya."
I mean, he got you there.
Yeah, he got me. There's maybe a sort of clever irony in making the comment so low effort.
Yeah, it's like
It's
almost like a
I'm holding
commentary.
up a mirror.
It's like
it's really a reflection of society, if you think about it. Yeah. It's the sort of thing the Joker would say.
he would say this is what the kind of comments are like in society.
Yeah.
And he would say, go see Joker Folie à Deux. Folie à Deux? Is that how you say it? Folie à Deux?
I don't even think the Joker would recommend us go and see that movie, to be honest. So I'm just throwing that out there, not having seen the film. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like this is the comment anyone's going to get on any video that gets a lot of views quickly. So I'm trying not to feel too bad about it. But why are you typing that in?
Yeah.
It feels like there's no benefit. I critiques, sure, I get. Some of the other ones, hey, go for it. But this is just so nothing-y a thing that exists only to try and hurt my feelings, which it succeeded at doing, by the way. That
You hear that?
I don't know what you're doing,
commenters?
Dreamsy Mobbins.
You're trying to hurt people's feelings and comments. You're working. You keep going at it. We're proud of you.
Yeah. Well, that's that one. Do you have anything to...
I have a couple. Because, even though I was gone for a long time, I still got a steady stream of comments coming in. I figure if we're just gonna go straight into like old nemesis, I have one from the High Top Films comment, because there's always just been like a steady stream of bullshit from that. But this one in particular kind of stuck with me when I saw it, because it just kind of wormed itself into my brain a little bit. Not because it was like annoying or whatever, but just because I just kept thinking about it. So Shortpunk 27 says, great name by the way, "I watched all the Spider-Man films with my girlfriend who isn't into superhero films and said Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home were the worst because they feel like they are written by AI and don't feel like a cohesive film, just a compilation of scenes. She's right." So
I don't think she is.
yeah, like there's that.
I don't think you know what AI is.
Like, first of all, I think that that this is interesting to me because it kind of encapsulates a larger thing I've talked about people just leaving their reviews on my video as a comment. And
Yeah.
I just can't, I don't know how to impress upon people that like, just because you and your girlfriend both share the same subjective opinion about these movies. My God, I almost had my own media literacy moment.
Yes.
But just because you both share this opinion doesn't mean that you're objectively correct, or that is even a response to any of the points that I'm making in my own video.
It's true, and I'd add something on top of that. I'm not convinced his girlfriend thinks this. I think what's happened is he's watched the movies. She's been laying there, probably watching, maybe scrolling some Instagram reels, I don't know. And then he said he's gone off on this big, it just kind of feels like AI. It just feels like AI kind of generated these scenes. And she's kind of been like, oh yeah, babe. I don't think she put her whole heart into that. Yeah.
And like the comment says himself that they're not super into superhero films. If you watched all of the Spider-Man movies and you're still not into superhero movies, like I don't think
what are you doing?
Like I think you're just doing that just to like, you know, make your boyfriend happy at that point.
Yeah.
But also just like it's not a, like obviously it's a subjective statement, but I just don't feel like of all the criticisms you could have of Homecoming and Far From Home, but particularly Homecoming, where you just say it doesn't feel like a cohesive film, just a compilation of scenes. Like, I haven't seen Homecoming in like 5 years, unironically, but I can think off the top of my head of some pretty cohesive scenes together. Like, the scene, I actually did just rewatch the scene the other day from where the Vulture figures out Peter's identity, because it is a really good scene.
Yeah, that's a great moment. Yeah,
but it only works because it draws on moments from earlier in the movie, you know. But moments like Peter's whole arc with Liz and how his whole relationship with Liz and his relationship with the Vulture and the Vulture's relationship with Liz, or implied relationship with his family. And then it only works if you have all of those elements together. Like, it couldn't just work as just like a short film, you know? You have to have the context of the rest of the movie. And
even like even the things that probably were rendered in like previs years before it was shot or whatever, like the final showdown, the sequence with the plane and stuff. The way Spider-Man is undertaking those kind of situations, you know, the way he doesn't throw punches at the Vulture and he's trying to save him in spite of the Vulture's attacking him. Like, it's not just an out of the box Spider-Man versus Vulture fight scene, is it? It is informed by character and by where these, you know, the relationship these have at that point in the movie. And all this to say, I don't think Bro was cooking.
Yeah, I think that like whenever someone says something that's a compilation of scenes, no matter if they're right or not, what that tells me is that you're not invested. Because that's kind of how I feel about, I think we talked about this in a previous episode, I felt about the last season of Umbrella Academy, is that I felt like just a compilation of scenes and events happening. And that happened because I wasn't invested in what was happening. Like, that's the kind of, I think that that's just going to be a feeling that occurs no matter what, is if you don't feel invested enough to find a common through line between what's going on.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, because films ultimately are a collection of scenes. And one of the things that takes them away from being a collection of scenes and being a movie is buy-in, right? Mm-hmm. The kind of suspension of disbelief. That isn't all of it, but that is an element of it.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because like it's different than like the typical actually the Spider-Man movies are objectively bad if you think about it this way, and it kind of because it brought in the girlfriend thing and also the compilation of scenes thing just stuck with me. And of course, I do like one thing about this comment, like unironically, I like that it uses AI as an insult. I think people should keep doing that.
That's fair. I wish people would be a bit more accurate with it, because you do it a lot of the time they are just using it as a general insult rather than but that's a pet peeve of mine for other reasons. Anyway,
but like the general idea of AI written stuff being equated to bad, I like that. That's a cultural moment. That's where we're at.
That's fair, and I'll give you that.
You know, we should encourage that part.
Yes.
All right. Do you have another one?
All right. I'll read one out, but you know, maybe I'll send you a few more examples to put on as visuals or something. Maybe not. But Captain Capitan Crimb says on my Slop video, there's a certain irony in Slop calling Slop Slop. And I just want to say, I got fucking 50 million comments.
Oh, you fucking got him.
Yeah. Well, no one's thought of this before. I'm actually going to call the video about Slop Slop, you know?
It's like
congratulations, you guys. You are very clever.
Name checks out?
Yeah. It is that. One theme a lot of these brought in is like, oh, this video is 30 minutes long and it's got a fucking advert in it. Clearly, you know, clearly you're padding this out for length and you're just trying to... Here's the thing. My video isn't too fucking long. Shut the fuck up. I got so many of those comments, and to start with, it's like, okay, fine, have your opinion. But after number 50, it's like, I want to talk about this a little bit because it's something I've had before, and I'm sure most video essayists get this sometimes. But I think maybe it is a kind of consequence of trying to make videos in which there is an argument, there is a thesis that is kind of central to the thing. Maybe it is a consequence of opting for that kind of essay aesthetic rather than the kind of general vibes review a lot fall into. But some people seem to think that anytime you're not kind of slavishly pushing a central thesis explicitly forward is a waste of time in a video. And I want to say, no, that's not true. The point of a video, because here's the thing, otherwise the video could be 20 seconds long. I could fucking turn a camera on, look at the lens, and recite the conclusion thesis. Are you going to say that a video that goes into a bit more detail than that is too long? Probably not. And also, maybe, hey, I don't know, maybe people want to try out methods of inquiry that are more than just thesis is this, here's evidence, right?
Yeah.
And something I've been trying to do recently is be explicit with what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, but also try and evoke feelings in the viewer to bring them along, so it's not just me explaining something to them, it's me kind of making them feel the way I'm feeling at certain points, so we kind of get there together. And that is something that if you are fucking watching it on your second monitor while you listen to Breakcore and play Pokemon or whatever, then maybe if you're not dialed in, then you're not getting that to the same degree. You know, I don't want to slate second screen people, because like obviously a video like that is primarily audio, right? I think it's fine if people second screen my stuff. It's because it's not fucking movies, right? It's not the same thing. But yeah, that's my little vent on comments calling my video slop. And if you want to drive me up the wall, go and leave more.
This is basically just a tutorial on how to annoy Pillar, pretty much. Yeah,
this is a very clever metatextual companion piece to the first half of the episode. This is what not to do. This is when you are too in the source.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the second screening thing a little bit, because I do feel like it's a tad broad of a term, just because I feel like there's different methods of watching something on a second screen. Like there's putting something on in the background as background noise while you like scroll TikTok or whatever, or like, you know, do something that requires more attention. And that's what I usually use like gaming videos for if I need one. Yeah. But then there's also second screening that you put while you're doing like a repetitive task somewhere else to keep your hands and eyes busy, but your ears, but you're listening to something else to keep your like mind busy. And that's like different. It's like that's like if I'm playing a game that's like Hades or something, that's not, you know, this is, you know, not during like the dialogue scenes, obviously. I would usually pause the videos for that. But like while I'm, you know, grinding away through the underworld and fighting enemies and stuff, like I'm not super like, you know, dialed in like mentally into that all the time. I
got through a lot of good videos and paid attention to them when I was in my last RuneScape phase, because so much of that game is just click here, click there, click here, click there. Yeah. And then if you're doing that, then if you're second screening something, even if you're not looking at it the whole time. So I think maybe it is dependent on like how visual a medium is. Like I probably wouldn't be watching TV shows while I was doing that, or a movie I cared about. But YouTube videos, stuff like that, especially more kind of commentary or audio ones, no problem at all from my point of view if you're doing that.
and to use like maybe an example that's less like a physical example that's less a bit like chronically online person, but like if you're doing the dishes, is the classic example,
Yeah.
you know, like if you're doing the dishes, you're not exactly like using all of your mental fortitude to kind of, you know, decide how exactly do I wash this plate? Where do I put it when I'm done? I need to like think about this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fucking freak. Like I have podcasts that I will prioritize for certain tasks. So I have like dishes podcasts. But I guess it depending on how audio based the video is and how important the visuals are, it is basically the same principle there.
Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of Dungeons and Dragons podcasts recently.
Oh yeah.
Specifically Dimension 20. Because Brendan Lee Mulligan is a fucking god, in case you didn't know. But it's like something like that's like is narrative driven and story driven, but it's also a lot more of a looser format. So it's not like, you know, there's intricate writing that you're missing. It's more kind of people like improvising and goofing off, but there's still like a storyline for you to follow and enough for you to keep you invested. If you know, it's like a perfect kind of format for listening to something while doing something else in a narrative sense. Yeah.
So it's another one of these things where there is nuance beneath some of the stuff some of the maybe more generalized stuff we use to discuss wider phenomena. And that doesn't mean that the discussions are pointless or wrong. It just means, you know, that there's always more stones to be lifted if you think about it. Maybe that's an encouraging thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of nuance in the world. But I'm going to ignore the nuance and send one more comment that I've got.
All right.
I just chose this one because I thought it was like funnily phrased. So obviously the most recent video I made, the one that I struggled to make, was called Gravity Falls Doesn't Need a Season 3. And as I predicted, I got a lot of comments that were just responding to the title, because, you know, people do that all the time, but especially in like a declarative statement like that. Most of them were variations upon like, yes it does, or I want a season 3, or I know but I want one, or something of the like. But then this one I got, it makes like an interesting point, and it also makes that interesting point in an interesting way. So this comment is from Otokichi786. It says, in quotation marks, Gravity Falls doesn't need a season 3, ? To judge from YouTube comics, fan dubs, etc., season 3 has been running on for some time now. The characters got older, mate, reproduce, and die. Okay.
I'm in two minds here. Part of me is thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? But then the other part of me is thinking, that's actually a really interesting and very kind of modern, very right now way of viewing it, you know?
Yeah, it's
Are
like,
you with me? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think that there is some validity to and interesting to the point that they made. They just said it in the weirdest fucking way.
Yeah.
Because like talking about like the characters of Gravity Falls like they're lab rats or something.
Yeah, that is the strange part of it, I will say. But I think that would be an interesting thesis for a video, right? Gravity Falls season 3 has happened.
I'm gonna tell you a secret.
You know,
that's part of the thesis of my
ourselves.
video. That's part of the thesis of my video.
See, the thing is, I've played your video through, but since I'm still watching the show, I did the classic mute sound thing.
Yeah. No, I get you. But like part of my thesis in the video is that Gravity Falls doesn't need a season 3 because the fan community is keeping it alive, and there's other things keeping it alive that, you know, even though the story itself is done and has a complete ending, that doesn't mean that Gravity Falls has to go away now. Like it, you know, people still make fan works, people still do whatever they want, and they keep a piece of art alive through discussing it. And like, here's the thing, that's what immortality looks like, is when people still talk about it, and people still make things about it, and people still engage with it long after it like ended, quote unquote. Yeah.
It's like what they say about people dying, you know, you die twice, once when your heart stops, the last time someone ever speaks your name.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit morbid, but it's it's that thing. So I think this comment's kind of cool because on the one hand they're phrasing your point in a really kind of provocative and interesting way, except for the lab rat part of it. But then on the other hand, we've got the classic comment genre, which I do love, of guy disagreeing with you who's actually agreeing with you.
Right. It's almost like the title that I'm making is supposed to be a jumping off point for a larger argument rather than a complete statement in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, here's what you should have done. You should have spoken directly into the camera your entire thesis in as few words as you possibly could. Because I think that's really what a good video essay is. That's what it should have been.
Someone should just like start a channel that's like video essay summaries. Wait, no, that actually is a thing, isn't it? It's like
well, it is,
X video, but for ADHD version, and it's like a 1 minute, 30 second to 1 minute summary of a whole video, and I'm like, oh my god, we're innovating, we're we're finding new ways to adapt in this new ecosystem. Yeah,
I mean, I don't like, me personally, maybe it's the old-fashioned part of me, but I don't like stuff like that in the same way I don't like, you get these ads for like, ooh, you've been struggling with reading, you want to read some hard books? Well, how about you read our book summaries? And
it's like, no.
Okay, I like a blurb as much as the next guy, but you're not reading the book.
Like the Spark Notes already exists kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But there is actually a reading tool that I saw that was advertised to me that I actually did use that I thought was really interesting. I wanted to talk to you about it. It's called Enter Trained, and what it is that it's like a combination book reading tool with a learning how to type tool. And what it does is that it like gives you the classic learn how to type setup of like, here's a sentence, type out the sentence incorrectly and whatever. But what it does is that it gives you whole collections of like classic literature to do that with. So you can be learning how to type.
You're typing out a whole book.
Yeah, you're typing out a whole book and you're also reading it at the same time.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
That's interesting, yeah. I don't know. I mean, because obviously your brain isn't as necessarily fully function. It's a different style of reading, I guess. Mm-hmm. But, if you're the kind of person that wants to kind of be efficient and kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a new thing. You've activated a new neural pathway in my brain, so I need to reflect on how I feel about it. I
haven't. I only tried out the demo right now, like the tutorial, because it is free. But and it's also nice because you don't need to make an account. You don't need to make an account for it.
I fucking hate all of these bullshit accounts. I'm sorry. I was recently. I've just been so many things I've done recently for videos and for personal stuff has just been me. Oh, okay. It looks like I made an account on this website years ago. Let me try all the variations of my common passwords, and then inevitably have to reset my password to an email account I don't use and can't log into. And it's just like, fucking Christ, we don't need accounts for everything.
Right.
Stop making us sign up. So
what this does is that it's like. Because like my philosophy has always been, you don't need an account because website cookies exist, and this site takes that into account. It's like, okay, it looks like you've been here before. We'll just save like whatever books you've already done, and using website cookies that you agree to, and we don't make you sign up for it. It's a win-win.
That is so cool.
And so
that's just made me really happy that I'm enjoying this on your behalf.
Yeah. I've decided my friend's really into The Great Gatsby right now, so I've been trying to read The Great Gatsby, trying to find time to read The Great Gatsby, and I might try just doing it with this thing, see how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, see how it goes, see how much you retain, see if you've got time to think as you go.
Yeah, and it also helps just because like I type a lot, and I haven't been typing as much as I haven't been writing, video scripts, so this keeps me in practice.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool.
It's called Enter Trained. I'll send it to you. Send it to you.
This podcast sponsor.
Yeah.
It's not true, by the way, just in case anyone struggles with sarcasm. But yeah, were you about to segue us into questions?
I think so. I don't have any more. I don't have any more comments or anything. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, see, here's the thing. I actually kind of got us started because that was a question itself.
Bro.
Didn't think about that one, did you?
Oh, no, I didn't think
Yeah.
about it.
What is your favorite superhero? How long is a piece of string? Where do we go when we die? Why won't my son talk to me anymore? Questions.
So I've got 4 questions, because normally we do like 3, but I figure we're, we haven't been around a while. We might just get through like 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
So here's an important one. This is the first one this is something that Pillar, you've been real silent about. People need to know. From Beardy, we have, when are we going to get the Pog apology video for having AI stock footage, and how many ukuleles will he be playing?
Yeah, well, I would have responded to this solely as a joke yesterday, even 12 hours ago. But and I don't want to spoil the video. I mean, it probably won't be out too much later than this podcast, but I am actually doing a video kind of not addressing this. I'm not doing like a video on this situation, but I'm doing a video kind of taking this as a leaping off point and trying to
Well, first explain the
happening with the
situation
AI.
for those who don't know.
Yeah, no, I should do, yeah. So basically, there's one point at least, maybe some others in this latest video this video on Slop, have that in your mind, where I unknowingly used AI stock footage I got it from Storyblocks, which is the stock footage platform I pay for. And so I got a few comments. I didn't, to start with, because they didn't have timestamps to start with, and I thought they were just assuming something was stock that wasn't, like the community clip I use where it's like shit quality sci-fi on purpose. I thought maybe they thought that was AI, but someone timestamped it eventually. And yeah, so it's like a shot of coins, and the coins are kind of melty, and one coin is a big coin made out of 2 coins. And so I made a community post basically being like, sorry guys, I'm with you, this is bad, it wasn't intentional. I'll try to do better.
Yeah.
But
How fucking
it
dare
just
you?
sucks.
How
dare I?
How fucking dare you?
Yeah, I mean, before you kind of hinted to me that this would crop up later in the episode, I was thinking for this episode's intro to learn the chords to Toxic Gossip Train and whip something out, but no ukuleles for now.
No.
But hopefully we'll be getting into this, because I'm not going to try and... Honestly, I think it's a big enough deal that I probably should have said something quickly like I did. I don't think... I think most of you are probably with me that it's not a massive deal. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to be like, oh, can you guys ever forgive me? But also, hey, hopefully it won't happen again. Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I think the bigger issue is just the fact that it was on Storyblocks to begin with.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil too much, but it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
I did email them and I did hear back, and we're going to go into this in more detail, but they don't allow AI images.
Oh, interesting. I thought it was like an Adobe thing where Adobe is very openly like, yeah, we're going to...
Well, Adobe is, yeah. So it's the stock footage industry is kind of divided in how they've responded to AI, which is obviously a threat to the stock industry.
Yeah. Also,
Because if you can just
another reason why Adobe is the most evil company on earth.
they can suck shit, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'll save the more in-depth ruminations on this for the video, which probably, if you're hearing this, will be out now or soonish. But interesting situation. Sorry.
Yeah. I have to issue my statement as a co-host of
Yes.
this podcast and a frequent collaborator with Pillar. I fully condemn this and all other political violence, and I believe that this should have never happened in the first place. And I'll be sending Pillar $10 trillion in assistance to help combat the AI threat.
And it is gratefully received.
Excellent. All right. So I got another question from Captain Kennedy.
Yeah.
This one is interesting because we were kind of talking about this a little bit, sort of in a roundabout way, but I did want to address it as like a genuine kind of question of like, so from Kennedy, he says, art and entertainment wise, what are some of the things you're each looking forward to the most in 2025?
I will start because my answer is going to be quite short. I don't really know. Andor, definitely.
Yeah.
But other than that, my brain works in a funny way, and it works the same way for entertainment as it does for holidays. Like if I have a holiday booked, it just, until I land or until I get there, I can't engage with it mentally. Like I feel I struggle to get excited and plan things beforehand, just because for me, unless something's right there in front of me, my brain's not very good. I struggle to sort of get excited and latch onto things. So until I see the trailer come into cinemas in 2 weeks' time or whatever, or until they drop some launch footage bullshit for the streaming projects or whatever, I kind of don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. I'm kind of in a similar thing. Like, that's part of why initially I wanted to start keeping the lists, but it morphed into the insane content farm thing for me, so I kind of took a step back. But I just don't tend to think really more than 2 months in advance about most movies. I do have two kind of major I'm going to look up a list of upcoming 2025 movies, and if I see something that jumps out at me, I'll be like, oh yeah, that. But the two things that come to mind immediately are Andor Season 2, because Andor has been on the mind a lot over the last couple of weeks. So, there's that. But also just because Andor is good, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to they've been doing a bit of a media blitz recently, because they've, been showing like images of K2SO in the new season, and like they've been showing off Ben Mendelsohn as Krennic coming back and stuff like that, and like there's been discourse about whether or not Andor should have been 5 seasons or just 2 seasons or whatever. But there's that and the new Superman movie. Like I am I am so ready for this new Superman movie, because like James Gunn has been talking a lot about making it, and he, like, everything that I've seen from him,
all sounds good. Like
every time I see something else from him, I get more excited about it. Like that's not something I felt in a long time about a project. Like usually there's some things that like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, and then there's other things like, I don't know. But this was one project where I've just been like, every single new piece of information has made me more and more excited, and it's definitely my most anticipated movie of next year.
Yeah, I mean, I would be right there with you, except he actually put his boots on like a goddamn sissy that one time.
Oh yeah, so that's true.
That actually is probably woke, so I probably won't really engage with that.
That kills all my motivation, actually. Looking at this list of upcoming 2025 movies, Fantastic Four could be good.
I'm for me, I'm just gonna not think about it until it comes. I'm gonna try and come into it fresh, because if I think too much about it, I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't think you want to get too much into the speculation's fun, but I think one problem people have is they put so much thought into a thing before it comes out.
Yeah.
That the moment it comes out, they make their judgment, and then they stow it away and they never think about it again. So I want to let it wash over me when it arrives.
My main thing about it is just like, it is a Marvel movie generally, but also just like, I don't know. I like the idea of them doing like a retro futuristic style, which is what I've heard a lot about it. And I'm trying not to like pay super close attention to it or anything, but that does give me some like, that's interesting. Like, I hope it's good. There's apparently a Smurfs movie coming out next year. I have not heard about that at all. Another SpongeBob, and also the Tron Ares starring our favorite Morb, Jared Leto.
Oh my God, Jared Leto. I recently, because obviously I'm working on a Suicide Squad movie, I recently rewatched the first one. I forgot how bad his Joker is. We don't have to spend any time on this. I just wanted to put on the record that it's really fucking bad.
I'm there with you. Also, most anticipated movie of all time, looking forward to, Minecraft movie. We've already talked about how much we love that. Apparently they're making a biopic about Theodore Roosevelt.
I got really excited because for some reason I thought you were going to say Bionicle movie.
Yeah, there was a.
That's what they need to reboot.
They do need to bring back
a Bionicle movie about Theodore Roosevelt. That would go so fucking hard.
There's the new Avatar movie that's allegedly coming out next year. That they say that every year, so whatever.
I still haven't seen The Way of Water.
I still haven't either. I am just not interested.
Yep.
There's I don't think this is like necessarily a good thing, but there is that How to Train Your Dragon live action remake coming out.
Yeah.
Did you see the trailer for that? They just dropped it like yesterday.
I only watched the first one of those, and I only saw it once. I thought it was fine, pretty good. I think
How to Train Your Dragon is my childhood.
Oh yeah, see that I was on the way out of my childhood when that came out. But yeah, I mean, I don't really. It's another one of these things. I don't really see the point of live actioning it, but it might be good.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and it was mostly just like almost shot for shot recreations of some of the most iconic scenes from the original movie. And like it looks like visually, it looks good. Like, you know, it looks very pretty, and like the dragons look neat and whatever. But I don't know. I just don't really see a lot of point in it, especially since they're like doing things like they're bringing back the same director and the same original team from the animated movie. Yeah. It's like you're just kind of.
That seems to be less point to it.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna do like a new adaptation of the book or something, like I'm all for that, but I don't know. Looking through this, there's Mickey 17. That looks really good.
I don't know what Mickey 17 is.
It's a new Bong Joon-ho movie. He's the guy who he's the guy who made Paris. For those who don't know, he's made Parasite
I know.
and stuff. And he it's a movie. It's an American English language movie, which I think is the first one he's done. I could be wrong, but it's starring Robert Pattinson, and Robert Pattinson plays like a guy who gets cloned, and then his clones die, and then he gets recloned and whatever. And I saw the trailer for it. And it looks so much fun. And it's, you know, original idea, super cool. Bong Joon-ho, great director, great writers, and great actors. I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, there's just not a lot of stuff that's like super jumping out at me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Boring answer, but we had a good chat. We covered some things off.
Yeah, so I guess I'd say Superman, maybe Fantastic Four, and Mickey 17 so far are like the ones that I'm anticipating in movie wise. All right, you want to move on to the next question?
Yeah.
All right. So from Not Quite Cool, what software do you write with, and do you have multiple scripts in various stages of being done?
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So I've already talked about the fact that, like, you know, I currently don't have a lot of scripts in production, but when this question was asked and when I would have been making more stuff, then the answer would have definitely been yes. I do have multiple scripts at various stages, just because, you know, having a bunch of different projects at once is helpful, and it keeps my like kind of neurodivergent brain that occupied, because I just jump from one project to the next. I like having more than one project to work on at a time, even if it's in various stages. And to answer the question about software, I write with Google Docs because I never grew out of my Chromebook kid era.
Yes. So I write on Word. I don't know how I still have it. I must have some sort of family plan that I'm not aware of. It used to be like an academic one when I was at uni, but it still lets me write on it. It doesn't let me do like autosave to OneDrive, so something's busted there, but it still lets me write on it. So I use Word, and then also if I'm sending docs to people, I will sometimes write on Google Docs, and then also, so I've done a few video ads for ClickUp recently, and I do use their inbuilt documents sometimes to like take notes mostly. Mm-hmm. Mostly concentrated on Word. I also have a shit ton of paper notes everywhere.
Oh yeah.
That I thought would be more kind of digitized by now, but hasn't really happened. But in terms of scripts going on, so right now I'm writing this AI video. I put my
You're writing a video with AI?
Draft.
What?
Yes. Yeah, Pillar of Garbage Fraud Watch exposed. But no, I put my Suicide Squad video aside for that, which I'm currently like 2,600 words into. And alongside that, in terms of other big ones, I think I'm like 4,000 words deep in my Skibbity toilet video, which
I forgot about that.
But it's not. It's real. I was really hoping to get it done by the end of the year. It's seeming less possible.
I was listening to old episodes and you talked about that. I was like, oh my God, I forgot he's making Skibbity toilet videos. Is he still making that?
I've got the thumbnail done for that. I'll send you the thumbnail after this.
All right.
Because I commissioned it, because this is going to be my big high profile thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
But there might have been more of a chance of that making it out by the end of the year if it wasn't for this AI situation and this Suicide Squad video ballooning. But other than that, I have a couple of other things in the background that I started a while ago and I plan to revive in the future. So maybe 2 or 3 more of those. So yeah, short answer, yes.
Yeah.
Lots of plates spinning.
It's amazing that you successfully managed to outlive the skibbity toilet like relevancy era with your
exactly,
video.
Yeah. Fucked. Also, because if I don't get it done by the end of December, if I do get it done in January or February, it's not going to earn any money on YouTube ads. So I've just kind
That's
of
true.
just kind of beefed it, really. But it is what it is.
Oh well.
So that's my answer.
Well, you do what you can, right?
Yeah.
All right. Our final.
Kind of all gone down the skibbity toilet. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Sorry. It's not that funny. But...
I don't think it's funny at all.
I just started thinking about how ridiculous that whole thing is, like the whole situation. This guy just made like this random YouTube channel built a media empire off of source filmmaker shit.
Yeah, they're licensing toys now as well.
That's ridiculous.
Just from a 11-second clip of a guy coming out of the toilet and going, "Brr, skibbity top top, oh yes, skibbity top top, yes." We're gonna get copyright struck now.
And that's the other thing. He's like copyright striking people for it, even though none of it is his own original assets.
Hey, if that's interesting to you, TSD, that element of it, might I recommend a really fucking long video that will come out in a few months' time?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Isn't his name like Da Fuck Boom or something like that?
Da Fuck Boom, yeah.
Wow. Ah,
My hero.
beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. I remember when
last question?
I'm sorry. One more thing about Skibbity Toilet.
One more thing.
I remember back a couple months ago when Hiatuses was like floating around the idea of doing like a Skibbity Toilet Hiatuses, and all of like the unanimous response is like, no, please don't, no, stop it. We're not even gonna get this. Ironically, don't do it.
Be kind of cool though.
It would be kind of cool.
I think it would be really kind of cool.
All right, final question. Okay, from Honey. This is an old one. I think this is from when we first started, actually. Yeah. Applies to Pillar specifically, or Pog specifically. Do you ever want to do a face reveal? And if so, do you have an idea of when you want to do that? Is there a reason for not showing your face besides just wanting privacy and shit?
Yeah, so I do. Yeah, this is something I'm thinking more about at the moment. And one of the reasons is kind of illustrated by the AI coin thing, which is it would probably in the long run speed things up if I could have my face as B-roll rather than having to find a lot of stuff to keep the video visually interesting. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do a face reveal. I'm not going to do a video ever that's like, this is my face. Click on this and see my face. I might eventually start doing filmed segments just to help with the production of it. And because there are some videos, and I think I've said this before, there are some videos, some video ideas I have that I want to make that would just be hard to make and keep interesting without like face camera segments, just because talking about more kind of abstract things or things that there aren't really images or video of, what do you do then? But I don't know. And the reason I haven't so far is partially because I don't know how to film stuff, right? That's another, being a YouTuber or being a content creator of a lot of sorts is wearing a lot of hats and teaching yourself a lot of different skills. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to work a camera. I don't know how to do lighting and stuff. So this would again, it would take some doing, but the main thing is just as I have built up some amount of fans or viewers or people that follow me positively, I definitely have some. I've got some haters. I'll say it. I've got some haters. There's fucking Splat Guy and his friends. Oh,
I forgot about Splat Guy.
Yeah.
Is he?
See, I don't. He's a part of me now. He's not been in the comment sections for a while, but it's just probably because I haven't done any more of that kind of. I don't know.
Like the grifter sphere stuff.
But yeah, people get weird with me. Not a ton, and I think they would more if I had a face to project onto. But it is just the fact that I probably get easier to dox if I have a face, and then it's just there are people in my life besides me that I wouldn't want to strip the privacy away from, and it would never be a
You
big
want to
thing. It
protect
wouldn't
the
be- it wouldn't
mask.
be
You want to
like-
protect the people you love.
Yeah, the pillar of garbage legend is worth more, anonymous. No, it would obviously never get to like Keffel's level because I'm not that notable and I'm also not trans or a woman,
I mean, that we know of.
Hey, true.
Could be.
Yeah, cis privilege strikes again, but yeah, not for now, but who knows?
I kind of have a feeling about doing a face reels because obviously I like started with my face public, which in retrospect I definitely would not have done. Like going back in time, if I could have told myself to do one thing, I would have been like, don't put your face out immediately. Not just because now the earliest videos on my channel are me as a baby 16-year-old and I look like a dumb little idiot baby guy, but also just because like this wasn't my intention, but like my name is public too because I'm connected to my TSD Talks persona is connected to my real life Thomas as thing. My channel used to literally be called fucking TSD Tom. So I just like don't have as much privacy as I would have wished. Like I think that as like from a creative standpoint, from a video making standpoint, it's a great choice because it means you have a lot more to work with in terms of like visual, filmmaking sense. And I love filmmaking. That's great. That part's awesome. But from a privacy standpoint, I don't know if I could deal with having like even like your level of attention on the internet. But like, I guess I could find out, but also just because for the first time in my life, I'm like thinking about like what my life is going to be like after YouTube. And, I kind of want to get into other positions that, not going to say anything too specific, but like high, public positions that I would have a higher profile in. And I don't really want something stupid I said on this channel like 4 or 5 years ago to follow me around for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's not like about having skeletons in your closet. It's just that's another thing you've got to think about then.
Right.
It's a genie you can't put back in the bottle.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like the cat's out of the bag. Like even if I deleted my entire channel off the face of the earth today,
there's still there's you can't scrub anything totally from the internet.
Especially since I have like videos on your channel where I show my face.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever did want to go fully off the grid, I've got no problems at all privating that critical drinker video, but like, even then, there's probably some weirdo out there with a backup of it.
And like the server knows this, but like half the server emotes are my fucking face. So in the Pillar of Garbage Discord server, so
that's actually my line in the sand. We're not getting rid of those.
Yeah, we got to keep those. We can just
fear,
The fear image is so.
What's
fucking
the guy that's just like a name?
Patrick.
Yes.
Someday I told the story about where those images came from in the server already. Someday I'll tell about it like on like this podcast or something, but not today. I can tell you after. If you don't remember, I can tell you after we finish recording.
I think that's fair enough. I don't think you owe the people, you don't owe the people. You don't owe this city any more than you've given.
I don't owe anyone anything. I'm my own man.
Yeah, I've recently watched the Batman.
Yeah. Did you watch The Penguin?
I haven't yet. I mean to.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And also something that I think I'll just throw this in here because this is a thought I had and something I talked about in the server with like people like Audi. But it kind of firmly puts to bed the idea that like you can't have like movies in the same franchise that have different ratings. Like, because like the Batman is PG-13 and the Penguin is rated TVMA or essentially R, but it feels very cohesive. Like the tone and the feel of the world is completely the same. It's like the only real difference is that like in the Penguin, Oz swears a whole lot more, and also they like show boobs sometimes, and like the violence is a tiny bit more grim. Like it's
But I mean, that also speaks to the well-crafted tone of the film, because you could have told me that was a 15 and I would have believed you.
Yeah, it's all about like character and tonal and story consistency rather than like can you show boobs or something.
Sorry, for some reason I zoned in to you saying that just as you started that last clause, so it sounded like you were just asking the listeners.
Yeah, that's.
Can you shaboob? Bobo Virgin? Yeah.
We need more boob.
Maybe we
need
won't
more
say that on
boob.
the podcast. Yes, that's what this podcast needs.
If you take away nothing else from this episode of the podcast, take away that we need more boob. You don't need to. Don't even know the context. Don't even know like what that is. What that's talking about. Does that have like a social implication? Does that have
rule.
Is that from a place of social liberation or from free the nipple or whatever, or is it from
a
place
of first principle?
Is it from a place of like misogyny or something? No, it just there's no meaning. It's whatever you make it to be.
Yes.
All right. Well, this has been a good return back to form, I think. I think we really got the spirit of the show back.
Do you want me to tie it back into the intro?
You know what? Sure.
Skibbity boob maxing. That's it.
I'm doing the absolute cinema thing again. The Martin Scorsese.
Nice. I'm mewing.
All right. Well,
that sounds like it. I think.
Yeah, I think we're done. With the podcast, we're just announcing this is the last episode. Sorry, no. But we'll do more episodes, and we'll try to be a bit more regular than having another month-long break.
But also, there are more important things than regular podcast schedules. So hopefully they'll be regular-ish. But if they're not, too fucking bad.
You can suck it.
Yes. That's the other thing to take away.
Yeah, more boob and you can suck it. You can put those two together, but you shouldn't.
Yeah, I think this ended up really well.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully we'll have more in the future, more guests too. I've actually got someone who wants to be a guest on the next episode. I'll chat with you about Pillar afterwards.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll do that, and if not, we'll still do more episodes because this is fun and chill and cool maxing. We're fun maxing out here.
We're fun maxing out here.
Yeah, I want this podcast to be about like talking about YouTube and stuff, but also just like chilling out. And I think that's what we're doing.
Chilling out. Yeah, I'm with you. And we've been with you, the audience.
Exactly. So. Let me read our mantra, our outro mantra. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We generally post new episodes every other Friday, so don't forget to follow us up on whatever platform you're listening to us on. But we might not. But if you're on YouTube, toss us a like if you liked and comment if you had any thoughts. And if you're on any other podcast platform, leave us a review. No matter what platform you're on, feel free to share the show with anyone you think might like it. All of those help support the show and ensure future episodes. And we just like having you around. You can find
Yes.
Yeah. You can find.
I wanted to underscore that point specifically.
Yeah, we do like having you around. Unironically, that's like one of the best parts. We have Comment Corner on this show for our main channels, but having audience interaction on this show is so much fun, genuinely.
Yeah.
You can find Pillar on YouTube, Twitter, and Blue Sky Social under Pillar of Garbage. Blue Sky Social.
More emphasis on the Blue Sky than the Twitter, by the way, because
Blue Sky.
Stuff.
That's another thing.
Why?
That's another thing that changed in the time. Blue Sky became.
That's the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Blue
that's
Sky
the
happened.
thing. He's all under Pillar of Garbage. He also has a Discord server that should be linked in the description where you can have your very own questions in the hashtag podcast Q&A channel read on the pod. Please do that. We need more questions. We want more people.
Yes.
We just want you people to interact. We want there to be more, engagement. Not in like not an algorithm way.
Siphon off your parasocial attachment and feed it into the meat grinder of the YouTube machine.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and all others under TSD Talks, and also on Blue Sky, because I was on Blue Sky before, but I've been more active there, so that would be fun. I have a cute little cat as my picture. Usually, we also both have Patreon pages that, among other cool perks, usually allow you to listen to episodes of the show early.
Give us money.
Yeah. Just usually whenever we finish them, it can kind of range from like the day before the episode comes out to like, half a week before. And without out of the way, I'm TSD Talks.
I'm whatever stupid name I said I was in the intro.
And this has been the Pillar of Garbage podcast.
Bye.